The spot on your forehead is tender when you touch it, a slight tightness, heat gathering under the surface. Soon it will swell into a red, angry bump that seems to glow in every photo. Your first instinct is to blame something external. Dirt, perhaps. A clogged pore from a day in the city. But the real answer is far stranger. The very oil your own face produced to protect you decided to feed an enemy instead. Buried in the shine on your nose is a substance so powerful it kills one of the most dangerous superbugs on the planet. It is called sapienic acid. And it belongs to you and you alone. Sapienic acid is a fatty acid your skin weaves into its natural oil right inside the sebaceous glands. Most animals do not make it. The name gives it away. It comes from Homo sapiens. Your body starts with a common fat called palmitic acid. An enzyme in your skin cells takes that flat, simple building block and bends it into a shape found almost nowhere else in nature. In other mammals, the same enzyme produces a different fat entirely. But in human skin, a tiny molecular detour creates sapienic acid. This minor bend is everything. The molecule now has a sharp kink at a precise location. That kink is a weapon. When sapienic acid encounters a bacterium, it does not bother with subtle signals. It plunges straight into the microbe's outer membrane. It preys the lipid wall apart like a crowbar. The bacterium cannot repair the structural damage. Its insides spill out. It dies in seconds. This is brute physical chemistry, not a refined lock-and-key fit. Now travel back to a laboratory in the 1970s. Two dermatologists, Donald Downing and John Strauss, were puzzled by something. Human skin, unlike other surfaces, stays remarkably free of infection. They collected the oily film from healthy volunteers. Under analysis, the sebum revealed a mixture dominated by unusual lipids. One lipid stood out, a fatty acid later named sapienic acid. Downing and Strauss noted it was abundant in humans, but nearly absent in every other animal they tested. They had uncovered a human-specific chemical guardian. Decades passed. Then the world learned of a superbug called MRSA. Methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. It resists nearly all antibiotics. It spreads in hospitals on gym equipment through tiny breaks in the skin. A wound infected with MRSA can quickly turn fatal. A team of researchers at the University of California, San Diego, led by Dr. Richard Gallo, asked a simple question. Could human skin oil help fight this invincible germ? They isolated sapienic acid and dripped it onto a culture of MRSA. The superbug crumbled. The oily substance that makes your forehead glisten in photos had annihilated one of the most feared pathogens on Earth. Think about that. As you go about your day, your skin steadily oozes a chemical that kills MRSA on contact. But why would your body need such a brutal defense? The answer is buried deep in your ancestral past. Long before mirrors, long before acne creams, your ancestors were dangerously exposed. Human skin is paper thin compared to most mammals. Your lineage shed its thick fur somewhere on the African savanna. That trade-off helped with cooling and endurance, but it left the skin vulnerable. Every thorn, every insect bite, every playful scuffle opened a tiny door for microbes. Yet those early humans managed to survive without antiseptic wipes or antibiotics. They had a secret shield. They were coated in a homemade, constantly replenished antiseptic. Sapienic acid oozed from their skin day and night. It painted a hostile film across their bodies, killing most bacteria on contact. When a distant relative gashed a leg during a hunt, this oil pooled directly into the wound. It fought off invaders long before the immune system even mobilized. It bought precious hours. It saved lives. The ones who produced enough sapienic acid lived long enough to have children. The ones who did not likely died of simple infections. Over thousands of generations, this oily defense became standard equipment for every human born. You still carry it. The oil on your face right now is the same ancient formula, unchanged in its chemical purpose. But here is the paradox. A tiny bacterium called Cutibacterium acnes was also living on that ancient skin. It had taken up residence deep inside human pores long before the oil evolved its unique kink. This microbe fed on the steady flow of sebum. When sapienic acid appeared, most other bacteria were wiped out on contact. But C. acnes did something extraordinary. It did not die. It adapted. Over millions of years, C. acnes evolved a specialized set of enzymes. These enzymes can snip the sapienic acid molecule at precisely the right spot. They dismantle the weapon and use the resulting fragments as fuel for growth. What kills MRSA with ruthless efficiency becomes a nutritious smoothie for C. acnes. A microbiologist in Denmark, Dr. Holger Bruggemann, has spent his career decoding this twisted biochemical romance. His team sequenced the entire genome of C. acnes and found the genetic toolkit it uses to feast on human oil. The bacterium did not just develop resistance, it became dependent on the very molecule meant to destroy it. It now thrives only where sapienic acid flows. That is why your pimples exist. Follow the betrayal step by step. Inside one of your pores, a few dead skin cells form a tiny plug. This plug traps the sebum, rich in sapienic acid, inside a sealed pocket. The pocket turns low in oxygen. Acnes loves low oxygen. It multiplies explosively, gorging on the trapped oil. As it digests the sapienic acid, it releases waste products that irritate the follicle wall. Your immune system detects the commotion. It interprets the chemical signals as an invasion. It pours white blood cells into the site. Blood vessels dilate. The area swells, turns red, becomes hot and tender. Pus forms from dead cells and bacteria. That is the white-capped mountain you wake up to. It is not a sign of dirtiness. It is your body's furious defensive response to a microscopic feast happening inside your own oil gland. For almost the entirety of human history, this trade-off was a bargain. Dying from a staph infection is a catastrophe for your genes. Having a few red bumps on your chin as a teenager is, evolutionarily speaking, a trivial nuisance. Natural selection is not a perfectionist. It is a bookkeeper. It only cares whether you live long enough to produce offspring. As long as the oily shield kept you alive through the infectious gauntlet of youth, a bit of acne was a price worth paying. The ones coated in sapienic acid passed through the filter. Their pimples came along for the ride. And so the oily shield remains. It is a fragile equilibrium. Your skin walks a tightrope every day. Too little oil and you risk bacterial invasion. Too much oil trapped in a pore, and you feed a resident microbe until your own immune system burns a hole in your face, trying to root it out. Now fast forward to the modern bathroom. You stand before a mirror. Infections from scratches are relatively rare in your world, but the social cost of a blemish feels catastrophic. There is a feed filled with flawless skin. There is a silent judgment you feel from your own reflection. You fight back. You buy astringent cleansers that promise to strip oil away. You scrub with exfoliating beads. You apply acid creams to suppress sebum production. You strip away the protective film your skin so carefully laid down. But your sebaceous glands do not understand. You just want to look good for a meeting. They detect dryness, a perceived breach. They panic. They signal for more oil, faster. The glands surge into overproduction. You end up in a cycle of overcleansing and oil rebound. More sapienic acid gets trapped inside plugs. The ritual you perform to prevent acne can, perversely, feed it. All the while, C. acnes waits inside your pores, ready to turn that extra oil into a fresh outbreak. This is the hidden cost. The molecule that shields you from lethal bacteria also makes you susceptible to the most common skin condition on Earth. It saved your ancestors from invisible killers. In return, it gave you a lifetime of small, painful public humiliations. The acne industry generates billions of dollars, yet few products respect this deep paradox. Most aim to obliterate the oil entirely. But your biology shouts back, insisting that a dry, unprotected skin is a death sentence. The weapon will not be disarmed. A new wave of research, inspired by the work of Gallo and Brueggemann, is starting to see acne differently. It is not a failure of hygiene. It is a civil war inside your own pores, fueled by a substance that belongs there. Future treatments may not try to erase sapienic acid, but rather to tweak the balance, to pacify the resident microbe without destroying the shield. For now, that tender spot on your forehead tonight is not a mistake. It is a signature. It is proof that you descend from survivors who were coated in a miraculous, paradoxical molecule. Your skin oil, that annoying shine on your nose, is an ancient warrior turned traitor. It still kills superbugs, and it still feeds the harmless-looking microbe that causes your personal torment. The next time you dab your face with a tissue, notice the faint oily trace. That trace is older than language. It is a weapon, a food, and a fragile compromise all at once. Your blemishes are not a failure of modern care. They are the echo of a life-or-death negotiation your ancestors struck with a bacterium millions of years ago. And you are still living inside the terms of that deal. The tenderness you feel is not just a blemish. It is a signature of a fragile deal your species made with survival.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. There's much more to discover.